compliance with our state orders. This is a call that can allow government to know, to make sure that we know what you know.
So, it must be like a whole idea. And you'd be like, why do some people, when you say you had the worst job beyond statute of limitations, this guy telling us to just get the worst. What is this? To just get the worst.
That snitch mindset has now hit universities across America. To return to campus, many college students are being required to sign contracts with their schools promising to abide by new COVID requirements. Mask wearing, social distancing.
And all it is blackmail. Really, they're talking about blackmail. Because when you throw something like, say, a litigation where, like a legal litigation, you say, well, then you can't say that. You say that all bets are off in that situation. Then you say, well, then all bets are off. Then the case blows. And that's it. And the case blows, and that's how that goes. So to say, have to say, what do you call it? Be like, blackmail and stuff like that. You're not really, it's all in the eye of the beholder, because.
That's right. You pay 50 to 60
so it's in the eye of the beholder. So
have your kids basically enter what is now a Soviet-style People's Republic of Education.
People are like, it's almost like, man, at 44, you're like, that's stupid. That's a dumb snitch, you.
Most of these universities require
what is that stupid?
Columbia is recruiting student ambassadors to help police the student body. The University of Miami is paying $10 an hour for their public health ambassadors, and they're not alone. So colleges are training health minders and
the people still are conditioned to hate you. You know what I mean? People like me are conditioned to hate people like me. As Westbrook Rosenberg is, he can tell the difference between injustice and justice. And as West is all I thought as he is, and he can tell the difference when there's unjust treatment for me and so shame on you for sitting up here trying to say, oh well, he has only his own interest. Oh well, he doesn't get. Oh well, he's trying to deceive. Oh well, he's just something like that as selfish and say he's not unselfish and stuff. Like, dude, why don't you stop trying to win all the time or lose all the time or whatever, and be more like what? No one's heckling you, man. It's just more or less like, why don't you sit up here and just bite the bullet and be like, oh yeah, I guess it's kind of right. I guess I should do my homework or something, or I guess I should do my part or some shit like that. In poverty land, though,
He's the former New York Times reporter, author of Unreported Truths about
poverty land, it doesn't matter anyway, because it's so unruly that it's like it's basically there's no guidelines really, other than 5 switches for $100. And so even when you go to the local park, the decent local park, it's like you still have to be like, hey, you know what? We have PTSD from the hood, so don't mind us if we're brash. You know what I mean? And like stuff like that, and junk like that. Where my dogs are even like, is it cool that am I being watched and stuff like that? Is it cool to kind of do this right here? Like, don't worry about it, man. I know it freaking feels like shell shock, but I can chill for a little while before we get inundated out of here or something like that, and stuff like that. And that's pretty sad, to say, oh, you have to feel that way, saying be moved along in such a way. And then we weren't, but I'm just saying, you're so pressed all the time, you just have this PTSD format where mine So like, so it must be this must be not real, and like thing, So I was asked earlier in the interface of the TV, would you want to accept a house or something like that? So I'm run on my bill because they extortion me for 4 cats. If you don't extortion me for 4 cats, you're gonna extortion me for a pit bull terrier, a bull terrier. If you don't extortion me for a bull terrier, you're gonna extortion me. It's you know what I mean? You'll never lose. You know what I mean? So what you do is just tip it over and be like, hey, fucking Philippines, what is it, man? You know what I mean? Immunity, you know what I mean? What the fuck ever. It's like something like that. It'd be very,
but is it all being driven by politics? Is that what this is about?
Well, I think it's a combination of politics and irrational fear of a lawsuit or an adverse media story, and
so whether you don't give yourself pre-diabetes or diabetes in the sense to say you can't say what you want to say prior to the elections and stuff like that. Don't give yourself pre-diabetes and diabetes and say you want to hold your tongue in a certain situation. Say what you want to say about it. Say, fucking what do you call it in this thing? Fucking what do you call it?
Of young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 have contemplated suicide
real quick.
within the last.
So that's when you say, oh, you get a thing like that, mad thing like this, like, hey, keep it down. Keep it down. You tell them to keep it down. You just tell them to keep it down, right? Because, they do this whole thing to where, they won't stop. They're a cancer that won't stop at all. So you just tell them to keep it down. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it with them, because that's the only language they understand. You know what I mean? So, and they'll do it like that, and it's endless. So when you say the fracking or something like that, or something, and it already messed up the train of thought what I was gonna say, and so you tell me, so you say maybe she didn't get it the first time, maybe they just didn't get it the first time, right? And like the several times that she's been here for 6 years, so you say, excuse me, which lady? Keep it down, right? Keep it down, right? You just say keep it down, right? And you just do that. That's how you do that. Because at this point, you're just kind of like, it doesn't matter, It doesn't matter. You move in, and so you can care less. And so beyond that, you give it pause again and say, let's see your responses. Okay. So really, the person upstairs is spreading disease because they put something in the vents. They don't use their vents at all, and they don't turn on their AC and stuff because they're on whatever, right? They don't pay bills or something. They just basically so basically their dirty air comes into comes into these vents because they don't ever turn on their thing, and this is due because I spend my bill. I have a $600 bill, right? And because they refuse, they use my AC to circulate their air because they're poor. We don't have money. There's something to that effect, right? And so that's just one of the things you have. They're kind of like stuff like that. They sit up here and.
I think this is
it's an endless. What do you call it? It's an endless fucking fool. And she claims she works for the police or something like that. She scratched my car. She put an X on the fucking hood of it, and she gets away with it. Still lives here. Refuses to walk her fat dogs. And doesn't even like dogs. I mean, just kind of as a hostage to be like, such and such, racist. On top of that, had kids to just to live off the government, and is xenophobic. So I mean, what is that? What is the equation of not being able to understand that? Look, this person is obviously a fucking obviously a rejection of society.
Universities across the country aren't just getting students to track the
So-
whereabouts of their peers, they're turning them into snitches. Schools from Yale
So,
to Tulane.
that's it.
New ways
So I got 10:07 on this. Hey, you can go ahead and just have it over. Let's sit up here.
Texas A&M University.
Let's sit up here and do that and be like, oh, you're gonna do that? Snitch you. He does it all the time. I sit up here and go to sleep. And you know what? Sit up here. I go all I'm ready to go to sleep. Standing over me. She weighs like 300 pounds, right? And she's like standing over me, like you can tell her leaning on her rollerblades or something over me as I wake up. It's ridiculous to even think of talk about it all the time. You know what I mean? Well, and such and be like that. That's this portal and stuff. What is this? So whether it be an ad, should be like, oh, you know, such and such, and be like, oh, you know what? I'll let it be a such and such. Whether it be Kamala Harris and fucking Biden or fucking President Trump, this old cancer is always gonna be a piece of shit. And that's basically it. Whether whoever's president, and whether it was Ronald Reagan and president, where she was like 50 then, she has been and always will be a piece of shit. And that's basically it. That's not, they're doing that all. That is a simple equation. It's a simple expression, and that's it.
Where students are basically encouraged to report other students